We need to turn off. So we may want to pause for 1 sec. Let's get that. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Human Rights Commission meeting. It's a standard meeting. Today is Monday, May the 13th. It is 5:30. And we're going to get started by calling this meeting to order. Can we please do a roll call?
Commissioner Flood,
Present.
Commissioner Cleary. Commissioner Rinke,
Present.
Commissioner Horn,
Present.
Commissioner Greer,
Here.
Commissioner Remus,
Present.
Vice Chair Vignolo,
I'm present.
Chair Loyola,
Present.
Student Representative Hanner,
Present.
Representative Figueroa,
She would also be a student representative.
and do you have a quorum?
We have quorum, great. Reminder, when we speak, we need to speak to the open mics for the record. Thank you. So, following the roll call, in the agenda, we're gonna move on to presentations, but we have none for today. So thank you for that. We're gonna move on to item number 4 on the agenda, which is the acceptance of the agenda. This is the Human Rights Commission will discuss the order of the agenda and may amend the order at items and may remove items from the agenda for discussion. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Horn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Remus, second. Any further discussions? Can we please raise our hands and vote to accept the agenda as it stands, or say hi for the record?
I'll go.
Okay,
I'll abstain.
I'm saying,
Yes.
okay, so we have an
Thank you.
Abstention.
abstention. Item number 5 in the agenda is the approval of minutes for the meeting that took place on April the 8th, 2024. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes for that meeting?
I'll move to accept the regular minutes.
Okay, so Commissioner Vignolo has moved to accept the minutes for April the 8th. We have a second.
a second.
Commissioner Floyd seconds. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, so let's take a vote to accept the approval of the minutes for the meeting of April the 8th, 2024. Please raise your hand and say aye for the record.
Aye.
So it looks like we have a full acceptance of the minutes. All right, this is moving great. We're gonna move on to comments from the chair. And I got my notes here. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to mention in my comments is that I would like to thank every single one of you who joined us and attended the Harvey Milk Coachella Valley Diversity Breakfast. I want to thank you publicly for your participation. And I also want for the record to publicly thank, especially thank Commissioner Michael M.J. Horn and his husband, Tom Jones. Not just for providing the sponsorship at a goal level for the event, but also by hosting the Human Rights Commission table. It was a fantastic event, and we cannot thank you enough. It's great to see those of you who attended, including our student representative, Lee Hanna. Another great event, and just what a wonderful thing to bring the entire community of Palm Springs together and to celebrate the diversity of Palm Springs and its very diverse fabric. So thank you, Michael, and please extend
My
our
pleasure.
thanks to
I will.
Tom as well for doing that. I would also like to remind all of our commissioners that coming up on June the 17th at 5 p.m. at Convention Center. Yes, it's June 17th at the Convention Center, 5 p.m. We would have to be present for the city council event that is the joint boards and commissions dinner. It happens at the Convention Center. All of you are invited to join. We will be providing a brief presentation to the city council on the makeup of the commission, but also about some of the highlights of our previous year and the work that the commission has done. So please mark your calendars. It is June 17th at 5 o'clock at the Convention Center. And it will be wonderful if you can all join us for that event. I would also like to mention that I am currently attending the LGBTQ outreach committee meeting. And for those of you who are not familiar with this particular working group, it's a group that is made of several civic community leaders, including our Palm Springs City Police Department and other folks that work with the city. And while we don't have a scheduled meeting set forth, usually the group meets around the third Thursday around 4 o'clock at the Police Academy. And this group meets to discuss a lot of things with relation to the LGBTQ community and how the community gets together to attend events and report on crimes, and also to learn about how the police department is dealing with all these things. I have to be very honest with you because of my consulting work for SBDC. I have been able to regularly attend these meetings. So I would love if one of you has the time and can commit to be kind of a deputy commissioner to join these meetings. The goal of it is to attend these meetings, to listen to what is being presented, to take some notes, to participate actively, and then to bring that information back to the commission. So when there's an opportunity to report on what you've heard, particularly if there's anything that you consider will be worth for the commission to explore or do something about it or get involved on those particular actions and activities, it would be great for you to do that. And I'm being very honest that because we don't have a set schedule, there's been a couple of meetings that I have missed and I can't commit. So I would love it if one of you can, raise your hand and be that person.
I would like to attend that meeting.
All right, so wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner Horn. So for the record, Commissioner Horn is going to be our deputy for this commission moving forward. I will be making the introductions to one of the police department lieutenants who is sort of arranging these meetings and introduce you, and you'll become our deputy for this commission moving forward.
Could I get the date again?
We don't have a particular
okay.
date. That's one of the issues.
Will you let me know?
There is no set dates. And
Okay.
so because of that, I cannot commit in advance,
Got it.
but it usually takes place around the third Thursday of every month,
Okay,
usually.
at 4.
And so I will make the introductions. Thank you, Commissioner Vaughn, for doing this. Okay, so those are my key opening remarks. I have other things for discussion.
Can I just ask, it's the 17th, is that a dinner as well as a
Yep,
council meeting, right?
it's a dinner that is hosted by the city. And they do a fantastic event, so if you plan to attend, come in with an empty stomach so that we can enjoy a wonderful dinner as well.
I'll be reaching out via email to get RSVP so we can have the appropriate amount of food at the buffet.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeremy. That would be great. Okay. So following my comments, we're gonna move on to item number 7, which is public comments. Do we have public comments, Jeremy?
We do have one comment by Abraham Ishak.
Mr. Isak. Thank you. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Human Rights Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject of the matter jurisdiction of this commission. Although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed or posted on the agenda. You'll be provided 3 minutes to present your comments. Please state your name for the public record and you begin.
Abraham Ishak, thank you. I'm here today to provide an update on my and others' efforts to request the city council to rescind the October 12th emergency resolution supporting Israel. While I don't have good news on that front, there are some positive developments I'd like to share. More on that in a moment. I've learned that the city council is planning to host a joint meeting and dinner on June 17th. While I understand the importance of recognizing your hard work, I also believe that boycotting this event or some portion of the event could send a powerful message to the city council. It would demonstrate that the Human Rights Commission values its principles and does not support the October 12th resolution. We've seen similar movements on college campuses worldwide with calls for divestment from Israel. It would be great if our student representative could rally support and encourage their classmates to attend the next city council meeting on May 23rd to voice their opinions. Here in the Coachella Valley, Indio passed a resolution in December calling for an end to anti-Semitism and condemning Hamas. After calls from the community to amend the resolution to include a call against Islamophobia and to speak out against Israel's war crimes, the city realized that passing a resolution based on foreign policy was outside of its jurisdiction, and the council should be focused instead on issues on which they have control, like homelessness and public safety. Councilmember Chrissy Holsich called it an embarrassment to the city, but I believe it was a win for the community. I urge you to watch the city council meeting from May 9th, where you'll see comments made by myself and others, starting at the 2-hour and 50-minute mark. We presented our findings from the Freedom of Information Act request returned to us regarding the communication documents related to the October 12th resolution. We wanted to see what led the council to pass that resolution. We found that the council received 0 emails requesting a resolution to be released in support of Israel, contrary to the mayor stating that there was a public outcry for the resolution. We did find 2 non-agenda public comments that were sent in on October 12th relating to synagogue safety, but the resolution fails to mention anti-Semitism. On a positive note, as I had mentioned earlier, if you skip to the 3-hour and 8-minute mark, Mayor Pro Tem DeHart proposed an item to stop the city from releasing resolutions on international affairs, which Councilmember Gardner seconded. However, after some confusion, the item was not added to the agenda. Your voices are crucial in shaping these discussions, so please attend the next city council meeting and make them heard. Lastly, while they claim to want to work closely with commissions and boards, this conversation seems a little too late. In my opinion, they should have presented the draft resolution to this commission for feedback before releasing it. The irony, though, is that Councilmember Holsich mentioned your important role when it comes to issues such as these, but you were never consulted in the first place when the resolution was rushed through 7 months ago. I hope that the emergency October 12th resolution will be placed on the June 10th meeting agenda for discussion at this commission. Depending on the purview you are allowed, I would love if the commission is able to release a public statement, open letter, or something of the sort to send a message to the city council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham, for your testimony. And I believe we have Council Member Grace Garner joining us today to provide testimony. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. On a different issue. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about a group that I've been a part of for quite some time now. It doesn't have a name, actually. I was just thinking that we need one. But it's a coalition of the Desert Healthcare District, myself, community members, Coachella Valley Housing Authority, the school district, and we would love to add a member of the Human Rights Commission and just work a little bit more closely with the Human Rights Commission. So what we've been doing is roughly since 2020, when we had 2 young young men killed in the Desert Highlands Gateway Estates neighborhood, we've been meeting to talk about youth violence and how we can support the youth in our city, and specifically been targeting the Black and Latino community in the northern part of the city, which falls into my district, District 1. So this group has met on and off since I think mid 2020. And we've really reignited within this year and are starting to have a lot more movement. We meet monthly. We met today, so it's usually the second Monday of the month at 11 a.m. And today, I learned that the Desert Healthcare District is interested in hiring a consultant to work with us to really push things forward. I'm actually in the process of hiring a summer intern who'll be working with me specifically on this project, doing outreach in these communities, and really trying to help us to actually create something that's going to be sustainable instead of what I think we've been doing a lot over the last few years is talking a lot, but not having as much action, largely because it's difficult to do this when you have leaders from all of these different groups who also have other things that they have to do for these jobs. So we're really trying to give this group some teeth. We would love to have members of the Human Rights Commission within the Brown Act, of course, attend. So really, this is just to invite you to see if you would like to agendize this for another meeting to discuss it further. I would, of course, be able to provide Jeremy with more information so that you can have a robust discussion. This is just my initial outreach to you all to tell you that I think that we're really making some good progress, and we would really love to have our Human Rights Commission as a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gordon, for that.
Any questions?
I don't think we can ask questions, but if we were to agendize this, what would we call it? Just give
So
us-
I think it would be, I think it would be
Working
a
group?
discussion regarding the Community Coalition on Youth
Okay,
Violence.
thank you,
That's just gonna be the name for now.
thank you.
Thank you so much for that testimony. All right, great. So following public comments, we're gonna be moving on to discussing new business, which is item 8 of the agenda. And we have a couple of just updates, really, nothing major. The first item for new business is just cycling back on Commissioner Rima's request to be the lead on the work in the area of equity and social justice. You submitted a proposal to the commission. I don't know if you had a very specific add-on or a question
Oh, no, it's continuing from the
Yeah.
April 8th memo.
from the April 8th.
Yeah.
So please, go ahead.
Yes, so in addition to what was submitted in March, the paragraph, if you guys can refer to it, is from April 8th. It was in the package from the last agenda, I believe.
Bobby, can you get closer to the mic?
Sure, no problem. So it was dated April 8th. The new items that are referenced are highlighted in yellow where it states the proposal to be the Human Rights Commission may request the liaison to attend meetings that are sponsored by the city of Palm Springs and or Palm Springs area organizations if they believe there may be a social justice or an equity issue that needs to be learned about. One of the ways which the commission may learn about social justice and equity matters is through the submission of the complaint discrimination form that individuals may access through the city of Palm Springs website. And of course, I hyperlink the actual complaint form. And then it also states that the liaison may also indicate to the commission of the need to attend a future meeting in connection with a social justice and equity matter. When attending meetings of this nature, the liaison is to only learn about any issues and report back to the commission. The commission, upon learning all the facts of the issues presented at the meeting, will then decide what steps to take, if any, are needed. That's pretty much the only things that I've added.
Okay. Any comments or questions? To Adam? Since the work was already voted on and approved by the full commission, so that stands. And that's great. Jerry, would this give you time to review the form online?
Certainly, what I shared at a prior meeting was that we had sort of an old clunky form online and it was really cumbersome to, you find a PDF online, you would have to print it up. fill it out by hand, scan it, send it back to someone. It really was almost a disincentive to complete the form. So what I've had the IT department do, and I'll pull it up here, is to automate the form. So if you go to where the complaint form is now, it's going to take you to a website, same form, it's now a fillable document. All the same fields are here. When you complete this document and hit submit, where you confirm you're not a robot and hit submit, the form will then go to me so that I can respond to the complainant, hey, we've received your complaint form, it's being processed. We'll get it to the appropriate body, which would be here, and then we can start having those conversations, but we've just made it so much easier and user friendly.
It looks much more user friendly.
Yeah.
Way better. The other thing, which is really interesting, is that it's right there on the website, it's for us to understand how to direct people when you hear anyone in the community that they have any kind of complaint, you know, for any kind of issue, that there's a form online. And, you know, I'm a firm believer of being a sort of like a self-learner, if you will. So I like to kind of do things and learning by doing things. So maybe you could spend a couple of minutes working on that form yourself, just to get accustomed to where it is. And then you can easily direct people to that. Jeremy, in the past, we have actually printed the form, the clunky form, the PDF, and brought it with us to community events. And I think it would be good for us to create some kind of a flyer that describes and begs the question, do you have something you'd like to report to human rights or maybe the city? With regards to any kind of issue, and then also provide that link to the form.
We can do that, and another recommendation may be with enough advance notice of a meeting, we could put together a stand, it's about this tall. We could put an iPad on it
Yeah.
with the complaint form out in public. Again, with the right amount of time to deploy something, we have the tools to do it, to make. If you're out at a community event and say, hey, here's what the form looks like, share the word, we can do that
I
as
think you can
well.
use your phone too,
Yes.
and it does work well, because I tried it.
Yeah. So that's great additions. Thank you so much for the quick walkthrough and for the update. So again, just an invitation to everyone in the commission to make sure you fully know what this is and how to invite people in the community to use it. That's
Can I
great.
just ask Jeremy, what happens to the complaint form? I know you receive it, do you record these complaints in some kind of public record database so that it doesn't get?
That's a question I'll have to respond back to the group at a future time. I don't know the answer as to the, public availability of a complaint that comes in. I don't know the answer on that one.
Okay. Fair enough.
Can you explain where the form is again?
Sure.
Yes,
It's on
that's
the
good.
website.
So again, for
On the
public
website,
record,
yeah.
it's on the website,
It's
but
under the documents,
This is
tab.
our, the screen,
Documents.
you can see the HR
Maybe the
commission
third one.
website.
Complaint of discrimination.
right underneath graffiti removal, and then there's a human rights commission, and then there's the complaint.
Thank you.
And there was a really useful PDF document that we used describing the difference between a hate crime and hate speech. Is it possible to make sure that that document also lives on the website?
If someone can get it to me, I can get it on the website.
Yes, I would do that.
Is there any option by the complainant to choose to remain anonymous and not disclose their name and address if they wish to make a complaint?
I don't think it's a required field.
Oh.
If I remember. I mean, plus you could put anything in there. It could be John Q. Public. There's no
Address,
validation of the
name and
data.
address are not required fields.
Right, well, it does say full name.
Yes, but it's not
a
required.
Field, it doesn't have an asterisk saying you can't.
Well, then
submit
you should
without
put
it.
down optional in parentheses next to it,
That's good, yeah.
and address as well. Because that, if they're complaining about discrimination and they have to give up their address, they might feel that they could be.
But we can't, I don't think we can investigate a complaint if we can't get the complainant in a room.
Well, I think you can respond to the complainant, but you don't have to know their
How would we
address.
respond to a complainant who doesn't disclose his or her name or address?
Well, the email.
The email and the phone number are still there, so you can still talk to them without actually knowing who they are. If they feel
Yeah,
unsafe
but
because
still-
their name and address is put down, then they're not gonna put
I
down
would
the.
caution that approach. I mean,
Well,
I
it's
think-
gonna chill complaints.
Well, and so be it.
Okay.
If you really want to complain and you want the Human Rights Commission to do something about the complaint, then you have to step forward with the complaint and allow us to investigate the complaint. We really can't investigate the complaint if we can't even meet with you.
Okay, I think
So-
that's fair. But I think they should have an option that that would remain confidential within the committee. We want them, Mike.
Well, that's a different thing. We can certainly say it's only gonna be,
Or it should be
within the Human
noted that
Rights
this is a
Commission.
confidential thing. It will not be a public record if that's the case.
Sure.
We're a public committee, we're a city committee. You know, are we really gonna have a confidentiality with these, with a complaint? I don't know if we even have that.
So we're getting close to a discussion item, so let me, I think I understand the gist of the conversation, so let me gather some notes and we can bring it back at next month's meeting to have a little bit more robust conversation where I actually have some answers. Would that be helpful?
That'd be
I
wonderful.
think it would also be good to
Can, I have just a question. So
engage
what-
with the city attorney.
What is the process for the Human Rights Commission taking on these complaints? It's an open-ended question. Do we have a process? What comes next?
Mhm.
Is that something that needs to be developed or worked on?
Probably.
Part of the process, Jeremy, is like, do we refer the case to mediation? Will the city get involved and handle the request if the police needs to get involved? Like some very, probably more specific steps that the commission could follow. Based on these questions, which is, they're very important.
And I think, Mr. Vignola, you were mentioning that the committee can't even do an investigation. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we're not an investigatory body,
Right.
so we only in my term received, I believe, one written complaint, handwritten complaint. I don't even know what happened, what the disposition was. I think when we reached out to the complainant, didn't want to do anything, so
So those are important questions for follow-up discussion.
Noted.
baby steps.
Thank you. Yeah. Great. We're gonna move on to the next item in new business, which is just a quick update. From Commissioner Brinke on the presentation to one PS organization. I know the PowerPoint was
Sure, can we-
completed.
We can bring it up if that's okay. So this is going to be presented at one PS tomorrow. And it's just kind of, it's describing the function of the Human Rights Commission that comes. In fact, David and I had worked on this previously a couple months ago, coming from the definitions from the website. If you want to put on the second slide. Yeah, so this is the mission statement and goals. Again, this comes from the website, pure quotation marks, but it's to educate the 54 neighborhoods that attend One Palm Springs about our presence and what we do. And it's kind of a branding opportunity as well. And then the next slide. And this continuing with the goals, management coordination for the commission, promoting diversity, et cetera. And then how we would work closely with the mayor. And this is what we do: advocate, educate, and collaborate.
Mhm.
Also, you can see like the second to the last check mark, we're aligning with the city's strategic plan
Mhm.
of 2023. And then the next slide. Yeah, and then these are the 2023 activities, the service award recipients, 4 new commissioners and
Mhm.
updating and amending the rules and standards, procedures. And then the next one. And then when we meet, and then and then HRC functions, this kind of got ponied into it. Into the slide deck, mediation of discriminatory behavior. About pass out forms has to be eliminated, has to be fixed out there.
Mhm.
But, I understand that there was a discussion in April about how discriminatory behavior and reporting those. I think we underperform or there's underreporting that goes on, but I will call it out and I will modify this and add the website changes. That'll be automated.
What's the question mark for?
The form, passing out forms.
Yeah.
No more.
No, in the first, we meet the second Monday of the month except August,
Oh, okay, thank you.
and I think just August.
It's just August, yeah.
All boards and commissions, and also for the public,
Uh-huh,
all boards and commissions, we go dark in August. The
Okay.
month of August.
You know
August
what?
and December, okay.
Okay?
And
if you-
December, we get December off. too?
No.
No, just August.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad we went through this.
Yes.
Yeah,
And you could mention I'm sorry, you could mention that our agendas are posted 72 hours in advance of
Mhm.
the published.
I think that's general.
You could speak to that, you don't
Yeah,
have to
right.
necessarily.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then I'll call attention in the website, a link to the discrimination forms. And the final slide, I think. Oh, yeah, discrimination. Okay, here it is, more.
So this is the question, this comes from that PDF, this
Yes,
describing the difference between discrimination or in public and in speech,
Hate speech and
hate speech and hate crimes.
this comes from the form at that
Yeah,
time.
it's just,
Yeah, this is just
it's just
verbatim.
discrimination. It
Yeah.
doesn't define hate speech or hate
Yeah.
crimes. It's a definition of discrimination, I think we
I think
took
that-
from.
That document, by the way, at least the one on hate crimes, like the folder one that we have,
Yes,
that printed is already on the website. It's under the resources tab.
okay. So let's just make it more visible.
Okay, and then
It
the
is a very
community
bland
service
document.
awards.
Yes, and this is an ongoing work because both you and Michael are working on providing an update to how the process can be improved, and we're gonna talk about that
Right.
during commission, because that's gonna be one of the agenda items that we'll discuss.
One of the things I was thinking about adding is just some kind of a slide talking about the United Nations list of human rights that have applicability to us in the Palm Springs. Okay,
Maybe also include a link to that.
okay, all right, I will do that.
Could you probably talk about the student representative program as well? Because
That's huge.
obviously it's adults that are attending these meetings, but I'm sure those adults have kids. And if, so many people and parents are going to be so invested in the neighborhood, they probably want their students to be invested.
Sure, I can make a mention of it.
And could you pat yourself on the back for a good job?
Yes.
Well, thank you, and I'm gonna say it was in collaboration with
I'm,
Dr. Commissioner Muglow.
I'm gonna ask at some point if we can like record a quick video
Oh,
of Lily, just describing what it is.
Video, kind of.
oh.
What it is to be a student representative, and we can also post that on the website. Because I think that's gonna really encourage other folks to say, hey, I could be joining the Human Rights Commission
I did it.
as a student.
I might also recommend that this presentation could be a good starting and perhaps ending point for what we need to put together for the joint commission meeting.
Yeah.
Council, that I know we're limited to 5 minutes, so we might be able to take this and consolidate it into
Sure.
something a little bit more brief, but I think this.
Or why start something? new?
We'll do 3 to 5
Updates.
slides. We'll do 3 to 5 slides, but we certainly use a lot of this info. Thank you, Commissioner Ricky, for this work.
Well, thank you.
Great work. And thank you for joining.
So the meeting is, Commissioner Ranky will be presenting this tomorrow at,
One PS.
well, it is the 1 PS membership meeting. It's, starts at 4:30, but it's on the agenda at 5. Anybody is welcome to attend. It's open to the public. You do not need to be a neighborhood organization, official representative or alternate. Anybody can join.
So for the public, can we remind folks where this meeting takes place?
Sorry, Palm Springs Police Training
The
Center,
police civic, yeah.
right across the street.
Where the
So
LGBTQ.
the Police Academy on Civic Drive.
Yeah.
Right across the street from City Hall.
And it's actually a filled auditorium, so often there's not enough seats. Anyhow, it's very well, yeah, the city manager, Andy Mills, all the political government, people are there. And it's, very informative.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner Ricky, for that update.
Sure.
Okay, great. So we're gonna move on to item 9, which is discussion items, and the first one is a brief discussion on commissioner terms and process. Well, just as a reminder that as it stands right now, each and every single one of us could be serving up to a 2-term function in the commission. And then now the requirement is that when you finish your first term, you need to reapply. This wasn't the case before, but you would need to reapply to serve your second term with the city council and fill out the form like every other community member who is interested in joining the commission would. The other thing is that to keep everyone abreast that there is discussion, and this is something I wanted to bring on the discussion terms. The city council introduced during the last city council meeting, which took place on Thursday last week. That there's going to be some work to overhaul the relationship between city council and boards and commissions. So it's a very general, that was a very general introduction. And the understanding, if you saw the meeting via the TV, is that they understand they need to be closer working together with boards and commissions, and ours is not different than any other board and any other commission. We don't have details at this point. This is going to be one of the items for the agenda that I like to introduce, where we can invite our mayor and any other council member to join probably in June, to answer our questions, to learn more about the introduction of this item, and just to have a conversation about what this really means for our commission and other commissions as well. Okay, there you go.
Well, I just think it may be a little premature to invite the mayor or council members to come in June, because my understanding that the council directed staff to go back and take a look at what they could come back to council with in recommending changes to the municipal code in terms of the roles of commissions, committees, and boards, the duties, code of conduct. So maybe we might want to wait till the staff do their further work as directed by council.
So, but
And
that's
then
a
if they
question,
issue a supplemental staff report, then at that point we
but
could.
that's a question, and there are multiple questions that are arising from that presentation. And what I would like to introduce is that we have a member of the council to just talk to us and possibly answer some of these initial questions. And I think that's a fair request, although we may not have answers specifically to what's gonna happen. I think it would be important to provide an opportunity for council members to answer initial questions about that
Would
presentation.
you be willing to make?
Because there was a lot of
it
chatter.
September
There was a lot of chatter about that
or July?
coming up.
I'm not sure what questions we're gonna ask them. We already know, if you look at the staff report that they've already was produced, that was discussed on May 9th at the council meeting, the direction is pretty clear. Just, okay, council said, yes, we agree that it's worth looking at boards, committees, and commissions, how they function. Should there be a code of conduct, and what should their roles be? Now go off and do your work and come back to us with specific recommendations. I think, I'm not sure what council members could provide us beyond what they've already stated on May 9th.
Do you want any clarity?
Sure.
We'd love some clarity.
Let me. Okay, for the public and for Jeremy, our staff, I did get approval from the city attorney that I can give you all some clarity.
Thank you.
But I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a council member, not on behalf of the council as a body, okay? So yes, we did give direction on boards and commissions to staff. This has been something that we've discussed over the last few years. We want commission positions to be robust. We want you all to feel valued. And so this is moving us towards that, to be able to do that. One of the things I believe we asked staff is to talk to all of the commissions, to get your feedback, to see what you all, what would help to create better commissions too. So I do think that Commissioner Vignolo is correct, that this would be a little bit premature.
Mhm.
Because what you would get is basically a council member coming back and giving you their personal opinion. And it wouldn't be the council direction specifically, so I do think that it would probably be, this would be a time to wait for staff to come back to you with this, and then we can discuss it further at another time. That's my opinion as a single council member. But I did want to just provide you that clarity since,
That helps.
if that helps.
That helps
That helps a
tremendously,
lot.
tremendously. Thank you so much, Councilmember Thomas. Yeah. Wonderful.
Is that likely to be our staff liaison who will reach out to the commission for
Yes,
the next step? Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
remember that all communications for the commission goes through our staff liaison.
And I think you might be lucky in that, in talking with the city manager, I may be the larger liaison for this project, so I'll sort of serve a twofold role in that, representing HRC as well as being involved in the larger project.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Given that additional information, I mean, I guess, Jeremy, you've got to, you kind of to tell us when you think you want to speak to us to get our input. And if you think you're gonna want to do that in June, we can agendize it. But if you want to wait till July, it's up to you. I mean, it sounds like you're gonna be the driver.
We can also put it on the agenda to discuss the chair's recommendation that we invite a council member and just have it trailing on the agenda. And we're not ready next month, we kick it to the next month after that. Just have a trailing agenda item about this.
And then, all right,
Otherwise, we're waiting for staff to send us an email.
that is the next step.
You know,
I mean, I hate to put something on the agenda that is pointless, because we're not gonna have anything to talk about.
I would like to.
Time is of
interject.
the essence.
Okay, what I want to say is that I was able to pull up from the city council of the staff report about analyzing commissions. And it provides a lot of detail here to
Mhm.
piggyback onto what Grace has said. So perhaps you can send it, I can send it to you, Jeremy, you can send it out so we can be educated
What is it?
on the specifics of this is the city council staff report on the
Right.
recommendation for redesigning, if you will, the commissions.
Yeah, that's available on the public website.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to dig.
But we also need to make sure that the public knows that this is available for public view.
Okay,
Because the chatter and the questions are many, right? And the media is picking this up and we see these articles and people have questions. So just to make sure.
Just to Commissioner Cleary's point, I mean, I think maybe the better agenda item would be for all of us to read the staff report from May 9th and to come back and have an internal discussion about our own thoughts as to what we see the role of this commission, what we see the application of a code of conduct. You know, I think you first have to read that staff
Yeah.
report. It's critical to read the
the
staff
staff report is on the website, publicly available.
Okay.
So then we can have our own discussion, so we're better prepared to feed Jeremy with our thoughts and our input when he is ready to receive that.
Yeah.
Whether it's June or July or September.
We will follow the staff liaisons lead on this. But it's, in my opinion, it's really important that the public knows that this information is available and people can read. Because again, there's a lot of chatter. a lot of
Okay,
Questions.
I'll read the report.
It's well done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
it
a good
is.
roadmap.
you've gotta be.
I don't know who
spend
wrote it,
time
but-
reading it.
It's
I'll
50
send out the report and also in our minutes, I'll hyperlink the report within the minutes so that if someone's going to the minutes, they can easily find it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for doing that.
very comprehensive.
Great.
Going back to our discussion item, I think. When we had commissioner terms and process, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the intent was for primarily Jeremy to just educate us and particularly the new commissioners, about what happens next month. That certain commissioners may choose not to reapply for another term. We have elections, we have officer elections as required in our operating procedures. So I'm just kind of throwing that, but that's what I thought the point of this discussion item was.
And I can tell you, my recollection was explaining the election process for your positions, the chair and vice chair. So we have 9 applications for any vacancies that will be occurring. And then in the July meeting, it says in your bylaws, the second meeting in July, but there's only 1 meeting in July. So it'll be at that meeting, a chair and vice chair would be elected.
Okay, so this may be premature and we will revisit that in June. And I'll make sure that I include in my comments, but we're gonna go over the importance of every single one of the members of this commission who have an interest to become the chair or the vice chair, to come prepared to make your presentations, to put your name on the hat. And we're gonna keep this very democratic. There will be a vote for those positions, okay? This is done entirely by vote and keep very democratic. And we do this every year.
So do we have any update on our vacancy? From anybody?
I know there are 9 applicants.
There are 9
The
applicants
applicants.
for all boards, committees and commissions.
For
just for the-
Specifically
for this,
for
for
human rights.
Specifically for the HRC.
And any idea if our vacancy might be filled in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? Any idea what's happening?
I've seen emails that the mayor is interested in moving quickly in the appointments and starting to schedule dates to do interviews. So I know the process has started in terms of an end date that I can't provide.
Okay,
And just to remind everyone that we serve, at the discretion, the pleasure of the city council. So that's an important thing to keep in mind because the city council makes those decisions. Yes? Okay. So we're gonna move on to discussion item 9B, which is the master calendar report. Commissioner Vignolo.
I think you all have in the agenda packet. What I am aware of as far as events of interest to the Human Rights Commission for May, the rest of May, June and July. I do have the time wrong on the 17th. We now know it's 5 p.m.
For the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia at the Center for Coachella is 5 p.m.
No,
No,
17th, June 17th.
Oh, I'm looking at May.
Yeah. June 17th, the joint meeting of the city board commissions and committees with city
Five.
council at
5
5
o'clock.
p.m.
The convention center.
In the convention center. What you're referring to on the 17th of May, there's an International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. It's at the center in Coachella. It's at 6 o'clock. All are invited to attend. That's just FYI.
Is that at the convention center?
Which event?
What is the center Coachella?
The center is part of the LGBT community center of the desert.
Oh,
They have an office out in Coachella now.
correct. So there'll be a meeting out there?
Well, I think they're hosting an event
Okay,
out there. I
got it.
think you can get more information on their website. But I just added it to our calendar just to make you all aware it's happening.
Right, okay.
If you want to go out to Coachella.
And just again, for the public, this is the LGBTQ center of Coachella Valley, and they do have an office. It's not just an office, it's really a center, the sister center facility
Yeah.
in the city of Coachella. They do great, they do great work.
I can add one,
You want to
I
add
can add
anything?
one thing to your agenda as well in June. On June 15th, we'll be having our Juneteenth celebration at the James O. Jesse Center.
Huh?
It'll be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
This is Juneteenth.
Juneteenth?
Well, it's on June 15th.
Yes.
Saturday, June
Saturday.
15th. But Juneteenth is
The night.
the
The
19th.
The Juneteenth celebration on,
The 15th.
being hosted on the 15th.
So is the celebration posted on the 15th, and do we have a time for that?
5
5
PM
5
to
PM.
7 PM.
All
is it-
invited to attend the
That's
public
all.
event, I assume.
The James
She gave me military time,
James O.
1700
Jesse
to
Center.
2100.
So we would, is that posted on the Palm Springs event calendar by any chance yet? Should be, we want to get more information.
I can get
about
more
the
information and have
event.
that and send it out to this group so we have all the specifics
That'd be great. Didn't know about it.
Where is it, where is it gonna be held?
at James O. Jesse Community Center.
Mhm. Great. Okay. So we're gonna move on to item number 10, which is commissioner member comments and requests. And I know there's a couple of requests for the meeting in June. One introduced by Commissioner Rinke and the other one introduced by Vice Chair Spinello. Commissioner Rinke, would you like to talk about?
Okay. I think, MJ, Commissioner Horn and myself
Yes.
have drafted a proposal about how the curating of the community service awards could be improved. So I think I've submitted that, I believe, to you, Jeremy. So, and MJ Horn and I had collaborated. So we're looking for your input so we can finalize that particular document.
Mhm.
And then there was another item, and then MJ, you might want to dovetail into this particular topic. MJ had brought it before from his experience at being on the governmental commissions in West Hollywood, and that was the Human Service Commission. And what he had referred to was that a function of that committee was that the city, the nonprofit groups that the city was planning to grant finance or funding to could come here and just be vetted or interviewed or just reviewed to be sure that they were consistent with respecting the human rights and the mission and the values of our commission. So that was it. Again, the city actually assigns funding to lots of nonprofits, and they probably have their own methodology of doing that. But this could be some kind of a function where we would not be doing an adjudication,
Mhm.
but just providing input as an additional piece of information.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can, if I could add to that.
Yeah, sure.
I just think it's important for the commission to know what the 501c3s in Palm Springs do. And it would be nice to have a presentation every once in a while from the 501c3s, you know, for the homeless, for the food banks, LGBT center, Filipino. In other words, I think we need to acquaint ourselves with that because we're not, you know, we don't really know what's going on out there. And it'd be nice that all of us have the knowledge of that. So the focus would be the human services component.
Yes. So that's a great point for us to discuss in June. But I just wanted to respond to Commissioner Horn's request. And of course, again, because you just joined the commission, but I just want to remind everyone and remind the public that we have had several non-for-profits come and present to this commission. Some of them, as I can recall, would include the Boo to Bully organization. We had the transgender
Wellness.
the wellness center come in and present for us as well. We were in conversations with Brothers of the Desert. And we couldn't quite get on a date for them to come and present. So this is something that has already happened. And we can certainly continue to invite other not-for-profits to come and give us a presentation of what they're doing, how think about collaboratively, how we can get inserted and support their mission. Because again, this is all about building community. And so we can certainly look at making sure that we would have the ability to continue to have these organizations come and give us a presentation about their work, which is fantastic, right?
So can I just ask? Are you asking for 2 agenda items for the June 10th meeting or 1 agenda item for the June 10th meeting?
Well, I would want to defer to MJ here, but the one agenda item was to have a way of screening nonprofits. I don't want to call screening, but interviewing the nonprofits that are applying for 501(c) certification here in the city. And, just kind of understanding what they're doing, maybe how they might fit in, and the role of the Human Rights Commission.
So do you want to, will you be the lead on that?
Um,
Because it will appear on the next agenda under discussion.
so we do have the agenda item for the election,
Community
the
service
system by
award.
which we're gonna analyze who's gonna get community service awards.
So that's one agenda.
The one point, the 501(c)(3) issue was something that Carlota and I were discussing. And if the commission would like, we can discuss it. I
It's up
think,
to you.
I'd be
It's up to
happy.
you. If you
Yeah, I'd
want
be
to
happy.
lead the discussion, this is the time to formally ask that it be put on the.
So
agenda
that's
for June.
that's a question, is would you like for us to include that in the agenda? and
Okay,
bring that
sure,
as a
I would.
Discussion point, that's fine.
Great, and you'll
Yeah.
lead the discussion on your joint proposal for revisions to how we select the community service award recipient.
That's one
There'll
board,
be some
that's
kind
one
of
portion, yeah.
paper we'll have as part of the agenda packet, so we just look at
That's great.
prior. Okay.
So do we get that?
Yes.
Excellent. And we also had another request from Commissioner Vignolo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I formally am asking for the commission to allow a discussion of a motion that I will present at the June 10th meeting. And rather than discuss it, I'm simply giving you a brief synopsis. This is not the time to discuss it. It's simply to ask to it be on the agenda on June 10th. Basically, it will be to discuss and move forward with a proposal to host one or more. Excuse me, need my glasses. To host one or more community conversations about the dangers of Islamophobic rhetoric, increasing acts of anti-Semitism and anti-Palestinian hate. Now, I can go, that's all I'm asking for is I want to have a discussion on June 10th about a proposal that will be part of your agenda packet for June 10th.
If I can add into that, the city attorney was aware, had some conversations with Vice Chair Vignolo about this topic and had prepared a memo in response in case this were to arise as a request for an agenda item. So I just want to hand out the memo to everyone here. But
I'm sorry, this is a memorandum from whom?
from the city attorney,
And this would be the first time we're seeing it.
that is correct. But it's just something to put in your notes. And you can still have the conversation about agendizing this for a future meeting. Doesn't impact that.
It's like you have the right to remain silent, that kind of thing.
All right, sure, we'll take a look at it.
You were random.
How you now, have you ever been?
It doesn't
Thank you, Joe.
I know, I'm
negate.
no, I
the
didn't talk about
request
that.
for This agenda item. Do we have to read this all out to the public record?
It will be available for the public, but you do not have to read it out loud.
Okay,
I think that's a really good idea.
so this will be part of a website, yes? Available for the public consumption.
Like, for
This will be available for public consumption.
Yes, it is not a privileged memo, it will become part of the minutes.
Okay, so it's okay if we read it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so if I could. This is a memorandum from the Office of the City Attorney. To this commission. And copied is our city manager, Scott Stiles, Jeremy Hammond, deputy city manager, and this comes from our city attorney, Jack Bellinger, and is dated May 13, 2024. And the subject is the scope of Human Rights Commission authority. And it reads, quote, I understand the Vice Chair Vignolo has requested or plans on requesting the commission to host one or more community conversations about the dangers of Islamophobic rhetoric, increasing acts of anti-Semitism, and anti-Palestinian hate. The ordinance that established by the city's Human Rights Commission provides in part that this chapter applies to all discriminatory practice and resulting intergroup tensions specifically covered by the provisions of this chapter occurring within the territorial limits of the city or within any governmental agency or any other agency under the jurisdiction of the city. End quote. This is part of Palm Springs Municipal Code 2.45020 and the ordinance 1426 to 1992. Islamophobic rhetoric, increasing acts of anti-Semitism and anti-Palestinian hate are matters that many are concerned about across the world and in our own nation. However, the ordinance's language quoted above limits the commission's role to those practices and tensions occurring within the territorial limits of the city of Palm Springs. The commission's authority does not extend to practices and tensions occurring in the Middle East or on campuses across our nation. I have advised Commissioner Vignol of this municipal code provision and wanted to highlight it to the entire commission as said about your duties as commissioners. And the memorandum from city attorney.
So I'd like to respond, since the city attorney opened the door to further discussion, so.
It's not a discussion item, so we're not gonna be able to have discussion on the item. We'll have to, if there's consensus amongst the board, then we'll agendize it for the June meeting.
Well, if he.
So he introduces a memorandum that we're seeing for the very first time, and I am not, as a commissioner, able to respond to a particular text in his second to last paragraph.
Respond, but not discuss as a body.
I think. you
Then I
can
would
talk-
like to respond, but not discuss something he's mentioned in this memorandum.
About the agendizing of the item, about agendizing the item,
I'm sorry.
about agendizing the item, putting it on the agenda, how you put it on the agenda, I think. is what-
That's what he's basically saying.
You can do that.
The agenda item has to be very narrow.
We can't discuss the item, but you can discuss agendizing the item.
That's correct.
Well, I already asked for the commission to agendize
But
this
you didn't ask
for
for it to be
next
very
June.
narrow, and that's what he's saying, there has to be very narrow.
You just,
So it has to be more narrow than hosting one or more community conversations.
Yes.
Right, it
has
should
to be
say
very narrow.
in Palm Springs at the end.
It says, or
Okay,
hosting community efforts.
I'm happy to
About
add
the
in
response
Palm
of-
Springs.
No, not in Palm Springs, of Palm Springs, how Palm Springs responds to these items, that's what they're saying.
No,
Not in
right.
my, it's actually only how Palm Springs.
I respectfully disagree, but I am simply asking that we, on June tenth, discuss a proposal that I will bring forward at that time to host one or more community conversations about the dangers of Islamophobic rhetoric, increasing acts of anti-Semitism and anti-Palestinian hate. I can qualify that as it affects residents of Palm Springs. If that
Also,
would
as
make
it- as
it
it-
more amenable.
As it occurs in Palm Springs, is what they're saying here.
No, I
That's what they're
disagree.
saying.
I disagree.
So
So my,
So we have your motion.
I simply want to put it on the agenda
That's,
for next June tenth.
so that's where we're at now. Is there,
If the majority of this commission does not wish to even allow a discussion of a proposal that I'm working on June tenth, then simply vote no. If you wish to have a discussion of a formal proposal that I will present to the commission on June tenth, then allow me the courtesy of at least coming back on June tenth and having a discussion with you about a formal proposal. That's all I think I'm asking for.
I think your motion's been seconded.
Well, I don't even know that it requires a motion. I mean,
doesn't require a motion or a second, it just
simply-
requires consensus.
we have all agreed, this is the time of the meeting when we are supposed to set the agenda for the next meeting because we are precluded from ever adding anything to an agenda if we
Commissioner
don't do it.
Vignolo, I don't think a vote is indicated here. I think we can go ahead and agendize it.
Well, then, as long as we agree, all right, then I put it on the agenda for June
This is my
10th.
first formal meeting here. If I just see enough heads nodding, I think we can add it. This is,
Yeah.
Please have.
I see a majority of heads nodding, so.
All right, thank you. June 10th, that will be an agenda item. It'll be part of discussion. And in your packets will be a formal developed proposal for discussion on June 10th. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Miller.
Jeremy, do you need any more information about the items that we're gonna include in the agenda for June the 10th?
You indicated, Vice Chair Vignello, that there would be a formal plan, so I'm assuming you will give me something, or is it just going to be an oral presentation?
Say that again, Jeremy.
You indicated something about a formal plan or a developed proposal.
Right,
Did you have something you were going to hand out?
I could, it's a draft. I don't know if I'm allowed to hand it out because
Not now,
it's not agendized.
later
No,
on.
not now.
Oh,
Something prepared for the June.
yes, it will be a written document outlining my proposal for discussion on June 10th. And I will get that to Jeremy in advance for distribution with the agenda 72 hours prior to our June 10th meeting. I urge all of you to please read it before you come to the meeting on June 10th to discuss it.
So Chair Lino, let me answer your question. Yes, I have what I need.
Excellent. And just a second,
That, the councilwoman was talking about.
Right, I
Did we
think
get that on
that's
agenda?
the, right,
We're gonna also add to the agenda for
Yeah.
June 10th. A discussion of the,
working,
report.
the working group.
what you.
Yeah, and could you send that report around, 'Cause I did look online and I can't find it.
Certainly, I will send it out.
Okay.
In just a second, those last few comments about the importance of reading what's in the packet prior to the meetings. And I know it's a chore, and I know we have lives, and I know it's difficult sometimes to find some time to do it, but please. Read what's in the agenda packet, come prepared with your own thoughts and comments. So that we can engage in robust discussions. And hopefully, take action on voting on things that are part of the agenda. This is part of the role of our being commissioners. Okay, so that's all I have to say about that.
Does anybody else have any? Anything
Is,
else they
are
want on the
there
agenda?
any other comments
I just
from,
wanted to clarify, we did get what council member was talking about on the agenda,
Yes, so
the program with the healthcare.
that would be a total of 4 discussion items.
Okay.
I have a
Thank
question I'd
you.
like. Sorry.
yes, Commissioner Horn?
There was an article in the Palm Springs Post. I found it to be somewhat surprising and offensive in certain ways. Is there any way that we can discuss why this situation that occurred?
So what goes out in the media is for public consumption, and this is part of that chatter, right?
I'm lost. What's it?
About the articles that the Palm Springs Post has been publishing for quite some time following the Human Rights
Oh.
Commission award ceremony.
Oh, those articles.
So there have been now for number 4, actually, if you've been.
We're walking a fine line here with that discussion item, so if it's something that you would like to agendize, again, we're back to agenda.
Okay, yeah, I mean, do you want me to give it a little more detail on that, because
What do you want to discuss on June 10th?
I want to discuss that the Brown Act might have been violated.
Okay, that's a discussion item.
Mhm.
That's
We
what
can put that on for June 10th.
and why and how.
Sure.
And if there's any materials within that, should we look at that? These
Like,
articles?
read the draft.
Yeah. Well, I don't wanna read the Brown Act necessarily, I mean, I kind of remember that.
No, but you have to.
Read the Palm Springs Post.
But
We trained on it.
Commissioner Horn's point, I think that would be an excellent discussion to have in conjunction with your recommendations of how to change or modify our process for selecting
Sure.
community service.
Cause Carolina and I discussed
They
that.
kind of
Yeah.
go hand in hand. So
Perhaps the second item isn't needed, it can just be folded into that singular agenda item.
excellent idea, Jared.
It also involves, our relationship to Jeremy and to Jay. And how we were guided or misguided or whatever it is that occurred there in that situation.
If it would help
So-
for that discussion item, Jeremy, you might want to extract the specific postings from the Palm Springs Post and include that in the agenda preparation material for the discussion.
Was that the material we got, that day we discussed the votes and they remember they sent us material of members of the community objecting? No, that was, yeah, so whatever it is, I think
I
we.
know what he's referring to.
I don't know how to extract that article, but.
You have to enter.
We can cut and paste it into a Word document so everybody knows what you're
Yeah.
referring to.
I think we should address it.
Sure.
I missed all that.
So they'll be part of the agenda
A
as
lot
well.
of people don't even know.
So we have 4 robust discussion items.
We never had enough.
Plan on being here till 9 p.m. on
Okay.
Tuesday.
All right, are there, excuse me, I'm calling, and I don't have a gavel. Are there any other discussion items before we move to adjourn?
I have one.
Yes.
It's a slight, it's a slight request, and I think this is something that I think I have to talk to you about more. Jeremy, I was hoping if you could work with the IT department a little bit with, or just whoever, with some form of flyer that could advertise the student representative program a little bit more. I'd make my own, but I'd rather it go through the commission a little bit more formally. So I could give it to some of the English and history teachers on campus to put up in their rooms. Especially some of the younger students, just to get like more long-term students in here. I understand that Ms. Figueroa is technically on the list, but we graduate in 2 weeks and I do believe she is moving for college. And so I'm not sure she'd even be able to make it to next month's meeting.
Okay.
So I don't know how fast that would happen, but if it could happen within like 2 weeks, that'd be great.
So IT is one of my departments, so we certainly can leverage that assistance. Then we have a communications department at the city as well.
Okay.
So I think we have enough resources. What I'm unclear of is exactly what the content would be. So if you could send me something, I
Okay.
can then work on doing that without a formal motion or agendized item isn't necessary for that.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you so much for
If
that.
I can, Mr. Chair, request one more thing for Jeremy. I don't know if it'll help you or hinder you, but as far as this form, this mediation form or this complaint form, if we could get a guidance on how we would adjudicate or mediate a response or handle the form once we ever get it. That's.
That's fine, thank you, Commissioner Cleary. Any other comments, any other add-ons before we move on to adjourn? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Commissioner Rankin moves, we have second. Second. Commissioner Flood seconds, any further discussion? All right, so we're gonna move to adjourn this meeting. The commission will adjourn to a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday, June the 10th, 2024. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.